All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello, everybody. Hi, my name is Darius Anucauskas, and I'm the Chief Market Analyst here at Markets.com. And today is Thursday, ladies and gentlemen, the 10th of July, 2025. Still, look, I wanted to quickly do a little crypto update, given the fact that we have Bitcoin, which is hitting new all-time highs, or should I say, actually hitting the current all-time high right now. Let's check what's happening there, but um, before we go any further, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, yes, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation and should not be considered as such. This material should not be taken as an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. Also, just a quick little mentioning of our Markets.com website, which you can always check out for more information about us. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist. Ladies and gentlemen, before even jumping into the crypto world, we have to look at the US dollar because, again, most of the cryptos are kind of denominated in US dollars. Of course, they're denominated in some other, you can find them against other currencies like the euro and the pound, but we kind of have like something of a standard in a way, right? When it's BTC against USD in a way. So that's what we're looking at all the time. And at the moment, we can see that the US dollar remains weak, and I talked about this in my previous webinars. You can always check those out in our on our YouTube channel. Our week our kind of regular markets talk webinar where I pick up on fundamentals, technicals of course as well, and kind of where I explain the US dollar situation. And at the moment I'm kind of leaning still towards the downside on the US dollar, and I think that could remain the case for some time, given all the tariffs, what's happening right now, and what's happening with the tariffs in general with the U.S. And I think this could play out positively for some cryptos. But again, let's take a look. First, I want to pick up on Bitcoin and the BTC USD. So looking good here. You can see that we traveled higher. Yes, we did hit a new all-time high. There we go. Yes, we hit a new all-time high, slightly above the previous, just fractionally above the previous all-time high. And yeah, look, this 112 zone. I talked a lot about this. In my webinar, in my most recent webinar on Wednesday, I actually said that, look, if we do pop above the 110,555 territory, then look, this is kind of opening the door to the current all-time high. And there we go. We got that move, we got that test, so I'm quite happy with this. Yep, now the question is, where are we going to go next, or where could we go next? Well, of course, everybody's very bullish right now, and everybody's hoping to see further action to the upside. Of course, I cannot deny that, yes, the setup looks a little bit more bullish than bearish, but certainly there's always an element of the doubt, and we can always see a reversal. But look, I will get comfortable with the downside scenario, at least in the near term, if we actually fall back below the 50-day EMA here, shown as the green line. So far, everything is tracking higher. Another thing that I've talked about previously, I don't know if you've watched my webinars, where I discussed this little idea here, and I'll just show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to use my beloved Fibonacci extension level. I mean, I love the Fibonacci retracement and extension as well. So let me just draw it from the lowest point of August and to the highest point of January of 2025, and then to the lowest point of April of 2025. And you'll see that this is where we're currently sitting comfortably, just near that 61.8% on this Fibonacci extension, drawn exactly this way that I've mentioned, from the lowest point of August of 2024 to the highest point of January of 2025 and to the lowest point of April of 2025. So basically, we need a clearance of this barrier here in order to go higher. It was a good area of resistance. That is correct. Yes, it was a good area of resistance back here. Fantastic. We tested it. We drifted back down, almost came back to that 38.2, rebounded, pushed back up, and now we're near this barrier. So of course, we're all watching this very carefully. We need a clearance of that area. Let me just Actually, you know what? I'm not even going to highlight. That's fine. But what we're looking at next, and this is what I mentioned before, I'm aiming actually for that other level on the Fibonacci extension, on this Fibonacci extension, and this is the 78.6, and that's roughly around the 122 zone. So basically, we're adding another 10,000 on the value here of Bitcoin. So again, this is just an idea, of course. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it might work out, might not, but we're trying to make some sort of sense, right? And the moment the kind of we're quietly getting these positive news everywhere. Like some companies buying more Bitcoins. They're shifting more towards towards putting their books more on the cryptos, and it's a gamble, of course, but it seems like for now it's paying off. And of course, also there was a little piece of news that came across today that basically there are some positive developments in the massive hack that would happened, when a lot of bitcoins were stolen, basically, and with the so-called Lazarus group. Yep. So, and apparently they're the Greek authorities, the Greek anti-money laundering, that's what they call them, the committee. Sorry, not committee, authority. There we go, authority. They managed to recover just a little, small part of that, of those funds, which is fine, which is good, great news. And in general, we are seeing some positivity with Ripple. Ripple is signing some deals with BNY Mellon. By the way, just a quick glance at BNY Mellon stock. Let's have a look if what we can get here. So there we go. So is there any developments here? Just saying, BNY Mellon. I think it's the other. Going to be the other stock. This is the ETF. Okay. Need to locate that one first, but for some reason it's not finding this one. Let me just double check BNY Mellon stock. Let's have a look. What's the ticker? Wait, they're no longer. Okay. Wait, that's no, that's incorrect. So where's that? BK. BK, right? Let me just double check this one. I thought it cannot be the case that no, it's the Bank of New York. There we go. This Bank of New York. There we go. So okay, so let's adjust this. There's no pre-market trading yet, so okay, but in general the stock is performing quite well, as we can see here. So look, long story short, for now, Bitcoin is testing this all-time high. We are seeing other cryptos kind of following suit. They're following the path. And of course, Bitcoin Cash is trying beautifully moving to the upside. Ethereum is also clearing. It's one of its key areas of resistance. I talked about this highlighted zone. So let's see if it's going to stay. Ripple also doing good. As you can see, this is what I was talking about in my webinar on Wednesday and also on Monday, that I need to see a clearance of that 2.33 territory in order to go higher. There we go. We're getting that. Litecoin is comfortably sitting above all the EMAs here on my daily chart, but of course it has a few obstacles in the way higher, like this 93.77 territory marked by the high, or should I say the highest point of June. If we can get a nice clearance of that one, then yes, further advances could be possible. In general, we're looking at that psychological 100 level. Let's see if we can reach that. Dogecoin, finally, there we go. I was talking about this for a while now, and we're clearing one of the sides here of this triangle squeeze here, and well, basically we're clearing one of these trend lines. We did so back at the end of June. So let's see if we can stay above this downside line. So at the end of June, we cleared this upside line. Let's see if we can now remain above this downside line. If we can, well, this might open the door to slightly higher levels, maybe going back to that psychological 0.20 zone. Polkadot, it kind of looks like a little bit of a goner. However, somebody asked me a question about Polkadot, saying that it's a kind of a lost project in a way already. But look, it's still alive. Would I say that this is a good long-term thing here? No, but is it a good speculative tool? Yes. So until it didn't die out totally, you can still speculate on it. So it might not, let's say, move in the same magnitude that other cryptos could, but still, it's an interesting one right now. It has approached a key area of resistance. Let's see if we can clear this area, clear this 3.63 territory. If we can stay above it, then yes, I'll go a little bit higher, not much, just maybe back to that psychological 4 level. And one of my beloved ones, Tron. I mean, I like it because it's quite stable, I would say. Unlike other very volatile cryptos, Tron seems to be like a little bit more, sophisticated. Let's put it this way, and it's kind of moving slowly. Yes, there is a little correction. Now this one looks something of a currency more, so kind of limiting major swings, major percentage swings. And this one's kind of moving, like a currency, I would say. So yes, for now, looking at this picture, I said to you before, and I'll say it again: if we do pop above the 0.2786, I will go for that 0.2932 zone. There we go. It seems to be on the right track. Let's see if we can eventually hit this area. And if we can hit this area, question: can we break it? Because in a way, the psychological 0.30 zone, it becomes quite a tempting area. So, ladies and gentlemen, look, there are plenty of more news. Of course, you can read about, the crypto world, but I just wanted to quickly share with you my little ideas here on, from the technical perspective and what's happening in the crypto world. And in general, cryptos seem to be attracting even more attention with this new White House administration. And I think that there could be, more upside for those. If you're a believer that eventually this could collapse or something, look, you might not be wrong, but the thing is that it's like, when you're saying, oh, there's going to be like a market crash, and you have been saying that like for 10 years, and let's say, you every year you say there's going to be a market crash, but then on the 11th year it happens, and you see, I told you so. So yeah, but like for 10 years you were missing that, so what, you were not long. So that's what I'm saying. The same story with cryptos. Yes, they do have a potential to kind of really, quickly reverse back down and quickly, let's say, lose interest or something like that. But for now, they're on a hype, and I think that they could remain like that because more and more, you see more and more institutions kind of shifting their attention towards the crypto world, and that's kind of legitimizing that. So again, we're getting into more regulation with the crypto. Somebody might debate it's a good thing, somebody might debate it's a bad thing. The good thing is that it's becoming, maybe could become a little bit safer, like you have your ETFs, but somebody might say, but hey, you're kind of missing the whole point of crypto being deregulated, and now it's like regulated. So that's why there's, like I said, there are two fronts to that and two sides to that. So again, it really depends. But look, I would say just keep calm, have your own judgment. I mean, trust your own judgment, and just go with what we see on the market. Just and adjust every day. Don't try to make prognosis, for way too far ahead, but just go every day and day by day, and then everything will be fine. Ladies and gentlemen, and on that note, thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope you found it useful. As always, stay safe, have your stop losses in place, risk only what you can afford to lose, don't overtrade, and everything will be fine. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.